This is Catholic Forum. I'm Bob Krebs. Since the mid to late 1970s, the number of priests per capita in the United States has declined, causing a severe priest shortage. This is true all across our country and also here in the Diocese of Wilmington. However, we're blessed to have a growing number of young men studying for the priesthood for our diocese. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll meet several of these men, and the first is Brennan Ferris. Brennan, welcome to Catholic Forum. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to be with us today. How are you doing?
I'm good, Bob. Just here, closing out pastoral year. Thank you for having me on the show.
We're happy to have you here. Now, you are at St. John the Baptist Holy Angels Parish in Newark. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you've been there for this past how many months?
Since August of last year.
Okay, so for an entire year, that's cool. And this is your pastoral year. So after this year, you'll go back to the seminary for another year. Is that correct? What's the schedule?
So after I'm done here, I have a couple of weeks, just to kind of relax a little bit. But I'll go back to seminary to finish 2 more years of theology. So I'm going into 3rd and 4th theology.
Okay. And that's at St. Mary's Seminary in Baltimore, correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So let's start by getting to know you a little bit, Brennan. Tell us a little about your family life. Where'd you go to school? What's your home parish?
So, yeah, I'm a native Wilmingtonian. I went to St. Elizabeth School. I was baptized at St. Elizabeth, first confession at St. E's, first communion, confirmation, school, K through 12, all at St. Elizabeth. Just like my 2 older siblings, my older brother Greg and my older sister Rebecca. And yeah, I grew up in Wilmington, moved out to the suburbs when I was about 6 years old. My parents, they both worked in Wilmington for most of my life. My dad was a Wilmington cop. My mom was always a labor and delivery nurse at St. Francis. So we grew up, that kind of household. Yeah, we were always a family that was involved in the church. I remember praying with my mom before going to bed, and always going to Sunday Mass, and always praying before meals. And just I remember noticing that my house had so many more religious images than the houses of my friends. So that was good. But yeah, so really I am St. Elizabeth through and through.
Yeah, and it's amazing that your dad being a police officer, your mom a nurse at St. Francis Hospital, both of those folks, dedicating their lives to service, to others. So that was probably a pretty big influence in your life, and certainly part of, I would imagine, nurturing your vocation to the priesthood.
Oh yeah, I think you definitely when you get older, you start to see more and more how much your parents sacrificed for example, that all 3 of us were able to go to Catholic school, and that we were given the opportunity to then go on to college, and to see how hard my parents worked, just so that my siblings and I didn't have to worry about the future, worry about schooling, and that we knew that our parents always loved us and sacrificed for us. So yeah.
Do you have any hobbies or any favorite sports?
Hobbies, that question always makes me realize just how boring I really am. I don't have too many hobbies. I'm a fan of movies. I like watching all various kinds of movies. I probably hanging out with friends is probably my favorite thing that I like to do. But sports, I'm definitely into sports. Hockey being my favorite. Played hockey in high school. but like also soccer. I like watching football, and I like watching basketball, but like only like March Madness. I'm not
Right.
a huge fan of like the NBA, but and then playing sports. Really any kind of sport I'm into. Maybe because I'm just like overly competitive, uh, but that's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So.
cool. Do you have any favorite devotions or any favorite saints that you know kind of identify with?
Definitely my favorite saint is Saint Louis Marie de Montfort. Um, he wasn't a saint that I really grew up knowing. I didn't know about him until I was a senior in high school, and like he really was. He was very instrumental in my vocation and kind of getting me more into the faith, seriously thinking about the faith and practicing the faith. And what really drew me to him was he came up with, or he made it more stable, this spirituality of the incarnation, of total consecration to Jesus through the Blessed Mother. And just reading about that in his book True Devotion and reading about his life it still continues to inspire me. It still forms me. So, when I think about like what kind of priest I want to be like, I think of St. Louis de Montfort. And what was really cool, really neat, a couple of years ago, I was able to actually go to his tomb in France.
Hmm.
And that was a really powerful moment, just being able to pray at this spot where, this saint is, and a saint who has had such a tremendous effect on my life. And because of that, and kind of tied in with that, another like favorite devotion of mine is the Rosary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Definitely, I have to say, total consecration and the Rosary are really the things that got me to, you know, actually live like a Christian and really consider like what a priest, like how a priest should live, and what I want to see myself, or how I want to see myself as a priest.
Well,
So.
let's talk about that a little bit more, Brennan. Your calling to the priesthood. How old were you when you realized that you may have this calling, and that and what talk to us about your journey to the seminary.
Yeah, so I thought about priesthood when I was at least going into eighth grade, because I remember my cousin mentioned something that I wanted to do that. So that's just like one thing that I remember from a little bit earlier on.
So somebody
But
saw
that
that quality in you, and then that got you to think about it, huh?
yeah, and like I think I had to have mentioned that there was like something in there,
Yeah.
like it within me, that like I wanted this. Um, yeah, because I remember he told like one of his friends that, and so that's just like, it wasn't obviously something very concrete before high school, but I went to high school, and high school is high school, and it wasn't super important to me, and I went the back burner. It wasn't really at the forefront of my mind until about senior year. And senior year, it was the winter. I don't remember what day. I don't remember what time. I don't remember what I was doing, but I just got these thoughts that I was like, I want to be a priest, and nothing else made sense to me. I didn't pray about it because I really wasn't praying at that time, and I didn't talk to anybody about it because I didn't really know how to go about that. But I just knew I wanted to be a priest. It was like such a strong indication, and it was like, before that I wanted to be a teacher, and just after just getting this call, like priesthood was the only thing that like really I was like, I want to do this, and this is like the only thing that like will make me happy.
So
So
what
I was
did you
blessed.
do? How did you act upon that calling?
I kept it to myself for a while. I had a friend in high school who was a little more, say, extroverted than I am. And so, like, the first time I met his mom, like, before I could even tell her my name and introduce myself, he was like, "Oh, yeah, Mom, this is Brennan. He wants to be a priest." And I was just like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you." But, like, I, I kind of tiptoed around it, like, even with, like, my family. Like, I didn't really tell them directly. Like, I kind of gradually revealed it, and even to like my dad and my siblings, I was just kind of like, I told them almost like through a secondhand story. Like, I was talking about how I told someone else that I wanted to be a priest, and that was kind of like, a shocking moment. But what happened was, I have to mention his name because he loves this story. Father Kirk. I told him that I wanted to be a priest on the youth pilgrimage that I did when I was a senior. And he was like, "Oh, you should go talk to your pastor," who's, Father Carroll, now the vocations director. And yeah, I ended up getting into contact with Father Carroll about this, and we talked more about it. And I was talking a lot about a lot with Father Anthony Giamello. And, just through talking to them, they kind of helped me understand more and more what, like what it actually means to go to the seminary, and like how to kind of nurture this vocation. So I had the idea of leaving high school, of going to college for 4 years, and then entering seminary, because I still wasn't really fully aware of like what college seminary was. And so in that year, I kind of got this, God was tugging at my heart saying like, that I believe he wanted me to enter college seminary and not keep delaying this process. And so when I came back to the diocese on one of the breaks from college, because I went to Mount St. Mary's for my first year, I went to CAS, which is, the group that we used to have come and seek for young men, discerning. And my old pastor, Father Dillingham, was there. And, got in contact with him, started talking more, and then he sent me the application. And yeah, the rest is kind of history.
In case you're just tuning in, this is Catholic Forum, and my guest is Brennan Ferris, who is one of our seminarians in formation for the priesthood for the Catholic Diocese of Wilmington. So tell us about the seminary. Was it what you expected? Did you enjoy going to the seminary? Do you have favorite aspects of seminary life?
Yeah, I think one of the things I realized when I got there was, the seminaries, we're all human. I think that was a really kind of like refreshing aspect that, we're all here, we're all striving to, to be disciples of Christ and to, try to listen more and more to God and what he wants for us. But that we all do that in almost the same way, but through our own, individuality. And that was really refreshing to see how like the guys just, normal. And so that was something that like was, it was striking because it wasn't like on the facade of like just being super holy, or just we were always, like just in front of the tabernacle kneeling, but that, we were, college age men, and that, we played sports together, we watched movies together, we hung out, we talked, we laughed, and everything. So I went to St. Andrew's College Seminary as a sophomore, and it was wonderful. It was it really was a great place. I'm very thankful that I was able to go there first to kind of develop like my prayer life and to grow into a deeper understanding of what seminary and what seminary life is like. Um, it was it was a wonderful 3 years. I'm very thankful for them. The one of the aspects that I like the most about it is the community, and even at St. Mary's, the community is wonderful. It's just very nice to know that you have all these brothers who are going through the same thing, and that they want the best for you, and that you're able to talk to them, and you get to meet people from different walks of life, and you never really know who you're gonna be friends with, but it's kind of surprising, like the friendships that you make in seminary, because like at St. Mary's, like we have guys from like 50 years plus to guys who are just coming out of college at like 22, but like we all come together and we all form this community, which is something very beautiful. And I'm very thankful for community at St. Andrews and community at St. Mary's.
Tell us a little about this past year, your parish ministry year. What are some of the things you've been doing?
So here at St. John Holy Angels, a couple of things I've been doing that I was more or less, when I got here, Father Carlos was kind of like, this is what, you're going to be kind of de facto youth group leader. So I was able to work a lot with the youth here in a youth group setting, but also I was able to teach religious ed to high schoolers, which is not something that all parishes offer. So that was very wonderful. I really enjoy being with the youth, and I just find like they always tell you, find like where to get like your energy from, and like where you find like your passions at. And this was a wonderful place to kind of just be with, the youth and hang out and talk to them about Christ, and hopefully be somewhat of a role model, maybe, hopefully. But also I was able to. What's that?
I was gonna ask you about you did a Spanish language immersion, correct?
Yes.
So tell us about your interest in the Spanish speaking community.
It's something that has kind of always been there, and I'm not 100% sure why, but even from when I was younger, I think there's something so very inspiring to see these people who come to this country, seeking a better life, and that they really, they're very thankful for being able to get a better life for themselves and for their children. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of always just had this more or less tendency or inclination to want to help out in any way I can. And, I was able to find that through seminary, through my call to the priesthood. So in the fall of first theology, I asked Father Carroll, the vocations director, can I do a Spanish immersion program? Because, I want to be able to speak Spanish on a, more level and a greater fluency. And he said, sure. But first, he sent me in between first and second theology, he sent me to Holy Angels, but just for Hispanic ministry. And so I was able to practice that a little bit. But then last summer, I was able to go to Mexico, to Puebla, for 9 weeks. And I don't like traveling at all. I have no desire to see the world. I'm sure it's beautiful, and when people tell me, oh, you have to travel, I go, thank you, but I'm okay. But I'm very thankful I was able to go to Mexico to get a better sense of the culture, the people who I would be ministering to during this year, and also help with the language. so it just kind of it all fell into place, and then I was coming here, and probably about every day I've had to use my Spanish here in the house because I live with Father Carlos. We pretty much only speak Spanish. And I've been able to lead like a group for total consecration in Spanish, give a couple reflections in Spanish, and then I think almost more as important, or more importantly, just be with people in like their homes and be able to just converse with them and share a part of their part of my life with them, and just be present to them.
Well, Brennan, we certainly
So it's been
could
wonderful.
use, we certainly could use priests to serve the growing Spanish-speaking community here in our diocese. So we wish you continued luck with that. We only have about 15 seconds left. Quickly, Brennan, what advice would you give to a young man who might be in where you were, a few years back, just considering that he may have a calling to the priesthood?
I would say, pray about it, be open, and just if it makes you happy, if you feel a sense of deep joy with it when you think about priesthood, follow it. Don't be afraid, and just pray and talk to someone about it.
Great. Brennan Ferris, thanks so much for taking time to be with us today on Catholic Forum. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget that you can listen to Catholic Forum every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock on Relevant Radio 640. After it airs, you can listen anytime on Apple, Spotify, or iHeartRadio podcast.